Gentlemen and ladies, please take your seat. We are starting right now. Present yourself.
He's speaking, we don't need it up.
Prepare the altar.
Yeah, we don't need it.
All rise. All right. Me.
Stop sharing.
Thank you. Sorry. Okay. Pledge of allegiance. Salute. Please stand to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Down. Is the rabbi?
Yeah, we need to stop sharing.
Rabbi. We need,
BC Peter Nikitas' stuff.
we need a rabbi for the invocation.
That's what we see.
Is the rabbi present?
He was supposed to be. Got it?
Mm-hmm. You have the prayer?
No.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Who's sharing then? Is that Peter? Oh,
National Past Commander David Magnuson will now do the invocation. Please rise.
hold on one second. Mike, Peter Nikitas is sharing. He cannot share. I'm not sure why he is, but we need to take that away from him.
Let me just say, I was just asked to do this, so I'm going to do it, but it's not from the book because I don't have the book in front of me. So all I want is, dear God, please take care of everyone that's here, everyone that's coming, that's here virtually. Please guide us to do some decent business on behalf of the Jewish veterans, Jewish war veterans of the United States of America. Don't forget what our organization is. Our organization stands for Jews that have served in the military on active duty during wartime. That's who we are. That's our role. That's our purpose. Dear God, protect veterans, protect the military, protect the state of Israel. Amen.
Amen.
I'm gonna
Please
be,
be seated.
Hold on one moment. Ben, I gave you back permission to share. Peter Nikitas is trying to share his computer, which is why it's screwing everything up. There you go. So we should now just, if you can just put up the way we had it before, we're good. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Okay, just a couple of house cleaning little items.
To share their screen, please.
Absolutely. No one at home is to share your screens, please. It just confuses things. And during the meeting, anyone that's at home, please raise either your hand or your virtual hand, and you will be recognized. And that's one more thing. And then, and anyone, identify yourself. Whenever you're speaking, identify yourself first, yourself and your state or your post. And please silence your phones, so we don't have any phones going off during the meeting. And that should do it. Else?
Just lost presenter. I'm only seeing. Greg, can you go into WebEx and go into the meeting and change it so none of the people can share their screen unless they're selected? Because right now at home, everyone is seeing Peter Nikitas' report. They cannot see the meeting.
Okay, just so everyone knows, this is Brave New Worlds. This is not Huxley, but this is our Brave New World. And we're just going into a little bit of unknown territory. And by the national convention, we should be in much better shape. This is a proving ground for that. So if you're all set, I will ask the National Adjutant, Michael Corbett, to give a roll call. Please use a microphone. It's coming.
Because
One, two, 1, 2. National Commander Alan D. Paley. National Vice Commander Nelson Mellits. National Judge Advocate Peter Nikitas.
here,
National Adjutant Corbett here. National Quartermaster Albert Adler.
here.
National Public Affairs Officer Alan Abramson. No response. National Inspector Lou Wunderlich. No response.
Who are you asking for?
Lou Wunderlich. National Editor Lawrence Jasper. Past National Commander Florida Ainsley Furdy. Past National Commander Pennsylvania Judge Paul Ribner. No response. National Past Commander New York Nathan Goldberg. No response. Past National Commander Ohio Joseph Zoldan.
Hold on one moment.
Moving on. Past National Commander New York Edwin Goldwasser.
Here,
Past National Commander Ohio Herbert Greff. No response. Past National Commander New York Warren Dolney. Response.
hold on one moment. We have a call in. Keep going.
Past National Commander New Jersey Michael B. Berman. Past National Commander New York Monroe E. Mayer. No response. Past National Commander Florida David Magidson.
Here.
Past National Commander New Jersey Norman Rosenshine.
Excused.
Excuse.
He's here. He
We
just
know
had to
he's
step out.
Past National Commander New York Lawrence Schulman. Past National Commander Massachusetts Ira Novoselsky. No response. Past National Commander Pennsylvania Stephen R. Zeitz. Past National Commander New Jersey Alan Falk. No response. Past National Commander New York Sheldon Oren. No response. Past National Commander Florida Dr. Robert E. Picard.
Excused.
Past National Commander California Maxwell S. Kalan.
Here,
Past National Commander Connecticut Jerome Bloom.
Here.
Past National Commander New Jersey Carl Singer.
here,
Past National Commander New York Paul D. Warner. No response. Past National Commander Talo Barry Schneider. Past National Commander Massachusetts Harvey Weiner. Past National Commander Illinois Jeffrey Sachs. Department Commander California Jerry Silverman. No response. NEC member California Matthew Millen.
here,
NEC member California Darren Selnick.
here,
Department Commander Connecticut Martin Levitz. No response. NEC member Connecticut Gerald Bagish. Department Commander DC Frederick Gross. No response. Department Commander Florida Lawrence Jasper. NEC member Florida Arthur Greenwald. No response. NEC member Florida Jules Golombek.
here,
NEC member Florida Josh Ox. NEC member Florida Gerald Rennert. Department Commander Illinois Bruce Mayer. NEC member Illinois Howard Goldstein. Department Commander Maryland Erwin Burtnick. No response. NEC member Maryland, Sheldon Goldberg. No response. Department Commander, Massachusetts, Arnold Pinsley. Okay, moving on. NEC member, Massachusetts, Jeffrey Blonder.
Here.
NEC member, Massachusetts, Steve Lodgen. No response. Department Commander, Michigan, Dr. Edward Hirsch. No response. NEC member, Michigan, Lawrence Berry. Department Commander, Midwest, Dr. Monroe Ginsburg. Department Commander, NEC member, Minnesota, Stuart Midnick. No response. Department Commander, New York, Jerry Roth. Department Commander, New Jersey, Larry Rosenthal.
Here.
NEC member, New Jersey, Albert Adler. NEC member, New Jersey, Selena Kenowitz. No response. NEC member, New Jersey, Sid Lichter. NEC member, New Jersey, Gerald Levine. Department Commander, New York, Mel Cohen. No response. NEC member, New York, Seymour Alter. No response. NEC member, New York, Edward Barraw. No response. NEC member, New York, Gary Ginsburg. NEC member, New York, Michael Menschel. No response. NEC member, New York, David Zwerin. No response. No. Department Commander, Ohio, Stephen Markman. No response. NEC member, Ohio, Larry Pollock. No response. Department Commander, Pennsylvania, Richard Fine. NEC member, Pennsylvania, Alan Abramson. No response. NEC member, Pennsylvania, Jonathan Sherman. No response. Department Commander, Rhode Island, Ira Fleischer. No response. Department Commander, Southeast, Robert Max. No response. NEC member, Southeast, Charles Luton. No response. Department Commander, Southwest, Lou Kelter. No response. NEC member, Southwest, Raquel Heyman. Yes. Noted. Department Commander, Taylor, Floyd Williams. Is he on board? Okay, moving on. NEC member, Taylor, Arthur Kaplan. NEC member, Taylor, Norton Scheckman.
Understand. Got that, Mike?
Are either of the last two you mentioned on board? Department Commander, Virginia, North Carolina, David Myers. No response. Department Commander, Wisconsin, Kim Queen. Commander, that concludes the roll call.
Michael, did you get that last, Sidney Goldberg? He's here and he's what, NEC? From New York. That's true. Yes, unless you're speaking into the microphone itself, nobody at home listening will hear anything, so please use the microphone. Okay, so now I call for adoption of the minutes of the August 2021 NEC meeting. Okay. Okay. Yeah, can you give him the mic?
Sidney Lichter, Post 47, New Jersey. Move that the minutes of the last meeting be adopted.
Could you give the microphone to Michael so he can second it?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? So moved. All righty. So now we'll have my greetings. No? Oh, late additions to the agenda? No move.
I would add to the agenda a change in our policy, in our manual, dealing with the wearing of JWE caps at non-Jewish services, ceremonies.
On the new business.
Is now at
Okay, Robert Max? All right. So you're gonna read the rules, right? Okay, adoption, okay.
It's David Magidson dealing with the rules. The rules have been posted. I'm talking into the microphone. You hear me? Good. Anyway, what I was saying, I can hear the vibe. Anyway, we're dealing with the adoption of the rules for the NEC for this year. They're the same as they are for every year. Basically, so you understand it, although there may be limits on speaking and whatever, the chairman can waive everything basically in the NEC. If he wanted people to speak for 4 or 5 minutes. Well, of import is one thing, and then we have to vote on something else. Of import is, if anybody ever wants a roll call of the NEC members, you need at least 5 NEC members to ask for a roll call. The second thing is, this is the first time we're doing virtual. So the issue before us is whether those that are members of the NEC that are coming to us virtually can vote on any issue. We don't know if there will be any issues. And it's our recommendation, at least my recommendation, that we amend the rules to allow those people that are appearing virtually that are members of the NEC to vote as well. And the reason I say that is I've been assured that the only people that can speak to us and that can vote, they've been identified first as members of the NEC. So those are the people virtually that can speak, and we will identify them specifically so we know who they are. So the motion that I'm asking is to amend the rules to allow those NEC members that can be specifically identifiable that are appearing virtually to vote. Wait. Somebody may want to speak on the issue. If you do, go to the microphone, please.
home raiser.
Well, no, they do not have raised their hand on that issue at this point, and I'll deal with it, Kara. This is so that this body allows them to vote. Any questions? Okay, all in favor signify by raising your hand, please. All opposed, lower your hand. So the rules have been amended, allowing any NEC member that's appearing virtually to vote. They are considered the same as we are. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Ainsley. Ainsley, right. Can't have an amendment without the main body. Thanks. Glad Ainsley's here. This is to adopt the rules that have been posted. You had an opportunity to read them. I've tried to give you generally, if you had any questions, you can ask me, but you can also read. So that I ask that all those in favor of adopting the rules signify by raising your hand, please. Anyone opposed, raise your hand. It was unanimous. Thanks, Ainsley.
Thank you, Past Commander. Along with that, what Past Commander Magnus said, that a lot of people can be watching, but only those that are part of the NEC have a right to be partake in the meeting. And vote, yes. So are there any late additions to the agenda? I think we do. Yeah. Yes. Identify.
Barry Schneider, Department of Talo.
Hold on.
Closure of a post 581 in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Is there any financial involved or,
No, this is just an agenda item.
oh, you want to put an
Our
agenda?
department commander will
Okay.
answer
Okay.
those questions at the
You got it.
appropriate time.
Peter Nikias, calling on you to,
Mr. Chairman, thank
addition
you
to the
very much.
agenda?
I have a late addition to the agenda. It's a for new business, a resolution to support Casey Weinstein, a son of JWV member Mikey Weinstein, and he's also a Democratic state representative from suburban Cleveland, has found his house and family the target of anti-Semitic protesters on Sunday past. The protesters included banners that said "Kneel before the cross." I move the adoption of a resolution by JWV to support Mr. Weinstein and to condemn the anti-Semitic threats leveled upon his home, his family, and himself. And you'll see the more details about it in the NJA report, which I have circulated at least in part. And I also note, Mr. Chairman, that if JWB publicly supports Mr. Weinstein, an article that in Vanity Fair magazine that is ensuing on this story will include favorable reference of JWV. That's all. That's my addition to new business for a new motion, Mr. Chairman.
all right, thank you. And stand by, we'll put that under new business. We'll bring it up in a full vote. Okay? All right, Peter? And you have another? I call on Carl Singer.
I was simply seconding the motion.
Oh, okay, thank you, Carl. Not a motion, but thank you. We'll do that on the new business. All right, let's move along. My greetings are short. I just want to let you know that so good to see everybody here. And as of yet, not in snow. And it's just, like I said before, it's a brave new world. I think it's a wonderful world because we're going to become more and more inclusive. We're going to get younger people because younger people love IT. And I think in the long range, this is the way to go. You know, we had a meeting this morning where we talked about youthful people in the military joining and not becoming part of the old gang, but having their own views and becoming part of our new JWV. There'll be plenty of room for us Altakakers, but there's plenty of room for youngers. And thank you and welcome all, and I thank you for coming to this meeting. All right, we'll have greetings from the JWVA. No, she's not here, so we'll have to skip that. Let's see. Reports from the National Commander, Mr. Paley, Commander Paley.
Good afternoon. I'm honored to serve as your national commander in this, our 125th year, and have enjoyed the last 162 days proudly wearing the cap of our organization. My term of office began with a complete review of our standing committees with the idea that each committee should not only have a chairperson, but a vice chair, who would eventually move up to the chairman's position. This would allow for a smooth transition. I also began implementing the change wherein past national commanders who currently chair committees would step aside and assume an advisory role, thus allowing other members of our organization to take over in the leadership role. My goal is to use the expertise of our past national commanders as mentors rather than as leaders and decision makers. This allows for an upward movement of members into the important and sometimes critical roles. Our Constitution and Bylaws Committee got underway, and the goal is to have a complete rewrite of both documents in time for our national convention in August. Our National Vice Commander, Nelson Melitz, is chairing that committee. I spent a good part of both September and October in conference with Joe Curtin of the Veterans Administration, trying to coordinate everything that needed to be done for Veterans Day. This communication went on until late in the day of November the 10th. In late September, I visited our national offices in Washington as part of the National Executive Director Search Committee. We brought the two final candidates to Washington and spent a good part of a full day with each one. They also had an opportunity to meet one-on-one with our staff. At the end of the two-day trip, we selected Ken Greenberg, who joined us on October 1st. During the month of October, I traveled to the Department of Minnesota and spoke at their annual membership dinner. I want to thank Department Commander Lou Michaels and our national JA, Peter Nikitas, for their kind hospitality. I was also joined on this trip by Sandra Cantor, the national president of the Ladies Auxiliary, and Richard and Verna Rosenzweig of the Department of Florida. Also in October, I was invited to attend a meeting of Post 202 in Naples, Florida, where 2 patron members were signed up. On October 28th, I had a Zoom meeting with the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Dennis McDonough, so we could get acquainted prior to Veterans Day. I had the honor of introducing Secretary McDonough following my remarks. During that meeting, we spoke of some specific issues facing many of our members, and the Secretary assured me that he would personally investigate and then get back to me with his findings. As your national commander, I am also a member of the Executive Board of the Military Coalition and was formally introduced to the membership on November the 4th. I was invited and attended a salute to veterans at a local Florida middle school on November the 5th. And on November 11th, I first attended a reception at the White House hosted by President Biden for all of the VSO leaders. About 50 of us attended, and along with a brief one-on-one conversation with President Biden, we posed for a picture together. I took this opportunity to present the President with the National Commander's Challenge coin, which honors our 125th anniversary. He was pleased to receive it and in exchange gave me his Presidential Challenge coin. I was then taken to Arlington National Cemetery, where I delivered my remarks. I hope you were able to see how JWV captured the spotlight that day. You can still view the program on YouTube. The Veterans Day program was followed by a reception at the Women's Memorial within Arlington. About 145 VSO leaders and others attended the event, and JWV received many compliments from those who attended. On November 20th, I was invited to speak at a men's club Shabbat, which was held in honor of Veterans Day. I spoke about the history of our organization and was pleased to find that one of the synagogue members signed up as a JWV member. On December the 4th, I flew to Phoenix to attend several gatherings organized at the Department of the Southwest. I participated and spoke at a menorah lighting ceremony at a state veterans nursing home, met with the director of the Arizona Department of Veterans Services, the director of the Phoenix VA healthcare system, and then was given a tour of the National Memorial Cemetery of Arizona. I was also a featured speaker at a memorial service on December 7th, which was the 80th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor, along with the governor of Arizona, Doug Ducey. I want to thank the Department of the Southwest for their hospitality during my short visit. For those of you who do not already know, the Torah that we use for both our NEC and convention gatherings has been deemed unkosher. The cost to repair the Torah was quite high, so I approached my synagogue and asked them if they would consider donating one of their Torahs to JWV. On December 14th, the synagogue board of directors approved the donation of one of their Torahs, and I have brought the Torah with me and have turned it over to Greg Byrne. So JWV will now have a kosher Torah to use during services. The Department of Florida had arranged for the official visitation of our national president, Sandra Cantor, over the weekend of January 8th and January 9th. Unfortunately, due to the growing issues with the latest variant of COVID, Sandra canceled the trip, and most of the weekend activities centered around her trip were also canceled. I did, however, speak at my home synagogue that Shabbat morning, as well as giving the Devar Torah for Parsha Bo. I also spoke about JWV and our position as host of the National Veterans Day program at Arlington National Cemetery and my interaction with President Biden. On January 21st, I flew to Texas, where the Department of Telo hosted me for that weekend. I spoke at a Friday evening Shabbat service, gave the Devar Torah on Saturday morning for Parsha Yitro, and spoke at a gala on Saturday evening, which also included the installation of Post 755. On Sunday morning, I attended a meeting of the Department of Telo and installed the officers for the coming year. The members of the Department of Telo went out of their way to honor me that weekend, and I want to publicly thank past National Commander Dr. Barry Schneider, Department Commander Floyd Williams, incoming Department Commander Ron Silvernail, NEC Scott Stevens, Auxiliary President Sandra Cantor, and her husband, National Officer of the Day, Alan Cantor, and everyone else involved in my visit for their very kind hospitality. It has been a fantastic experience so far, and I look forward to my remaining time as your national commander. Thank you.
Very nice report. Okay, good time. Jay. Okay, I recognize Ainsley Furdy.
When you were supposed to be at Florida, we obtained a little proclamation for you. This is from the mayor and the county commission of Miami-Dade County. Yesterday's history is always prevalent in today's news. Thus, the historical facts, figures, locations, and moments which have helped make Miami-Dade County an iconic staple to the world should be celebrated and observed for many years to come. And whereas in 1896, a group of Jewish veterans of the Civil War gathered to fight anti-Semitism and the false claims that Jews did not fight. Whereas today, 125 years later, Jewish War Veterans of the USA, a congressionally chartered organization of men and women who have served in all of America's wars, is the oldest active veteran service organization with programs of service at the Veterans Administration Hospital, clinics, and outreach programs of the Armed Forces and the Service Academies. Whereas National Commander Alan Paley of Florida led the Veterans Day services at Arlington National Cemetery and is making his official visit to Florida. Whereas it is fitting and proper that the officials throughout acknowledgement be given to Jewish war veterans, be it resolved that I, Daniela Levine Cava, Mayor of Miami-Dade County, Chairman Josie Pepe Diaz, and the members of the Board of County Commissioners, on behalf of Miami-Dade County, in this community, hereby proclaim Sunday, January 9th, 2022 as Jewish War Veterans Day. Alan?
Thank you.
A little personal gift is a book that I happened to read last Valentine. It has as one of the themes the repatriation of remains of a World War II veteran 50 years after he died in Bataan. So I think you'll enjoy it with that too, something for your spare time.
Thank you, Ainsley.
That's better. Thank you so much, Ainsley. We now have the report of the National Vice Commander Nelson Melitz.
It is an honor to be your National Vice Commander. Just thinking about the presentation that Ainsley just made, about the presentation that Alan just made, and Debbie and myself sat in the audience at the amphitheater on Veterans Day. We heard Alan's speech. It was the highlight of the year, the highlight of the century, you could say. Alan did a fantastic job. He represented us well, and I am proud to be his vice commander. Round of applause. You deserve it. And by the way, in the reception afterwards, the food was great. David Magnuson made a lot of these arrangements. Yet Ken, our national executive director, also made a lot of the arrangements. Norman was involved. A lot of people were involved. It was just a fantastic occasion. And again, fantastic to be one of the representatives. Shortly after our August convention, as Alan said, he appointed a committee for the Constitution and the bylaws rewrite. The committee is made up of fantastic people, skilled in the law, in military, in public practice, everywhere you could think of. We meet on every 2 weeks. We have actually gone through the Constitution, every paragraph, almost every line. We've read everything, every phrase. We've compared it to history. We've had discussions, and it's coming along. There are some open areas that we want to look at a little bit further, and we'll take care of that over the next few weeks. The bylaws, we're at Article 4 approximately, and we're getting into more details with the bylaws. As was said, prior to the annual convention in August, we will be distributing these documents for everybody to review. Take a look at, give your comments. Please, this is your opportunity. You may not have an opportunity like this again for the next 25 years plus to actually revise the Constitution and the bylaws. Get back to us. Anti-Semitism. We all know it's on the increase. Even today, there was some swastikas being posted in Washington on federal buildings, and you'll read about that. Jewish war veterans has stepped up. We are now joining organizations fighting anti-Semitism, major Jewish organizations and some not Jewish organizations. We will not sit back and let this happen. Thank you. Remember why we were formed, by those individuals that had to prove to the world that they served in the Civil War. They were fighting anti-Semitism. It's our time to fight anti-Semitism, and don't stop, because once we stop, it gets worse. That's my report, and thank you.
Report of the president of our museum, Michael Berman.
A quick report, just as a reminder, the museum and JWVU are two separate corporations. For those who forget it, the congressional charter for the museum was given before JWV received its congressional charter. But we have our meeting tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, I gather, in here, and you'll get a full report tomorrow. For those who are leaving tonight, let me just give you a 30-second update. The new exhibit on the Jewish experience during Vietnam. Thank you, Jerry and Bob. We'll have a formal ribbon cutting on El Cinco de Mayo, May 5th. We will have a reception on that day at the museum prior to the dinner. We will be cutting the ribbon that day. We will have also, following that up, where's it? Ruchel's in the room. She will be honchoing a new exhibit called Jewish Women in the Military. That's our next exhibit. We're also going to look quickly at something on the 125th anniversary for an exhibit, small corner exhibit in the museum featuring Paley's mementos from the White House and other things that occurred this year. We have had several panel discussions on the Jewish experience during Vietnam, 2 different panels over the course of 2 weeks. Those were absolutely phenomenal. I think, if I recall, our experience on those 2 were well over 100 participants from across the country. We have had 2 book authors speaking, one on an uncle of his that won an Iron Cross in World War I and a Silver Star in World War II, and stood up to the Nazis in Germany before he fled here. The second about the Ritchie boys. Those who don't know what the Ritchie boys, those were really European escapees who trained at Camp Ritchie. Some of them were dropped behind the German lines to gather intelligence and help the partisans. Others of them actually served in the Pacific Campaign as well. And we have additional ones coming up. Please, we have our website. It's not hard to find, and find it, use it. And again, we'll hopefully see you all tomorrow morning at 11. Thank you.
I'd like to make a quick addendum to Mike's report.
Identify yourself, please.
Sid Goldberg, Department of New York. The missing person from the Department of New York. On 60 Minutes, I saw it twice, the Ritchie Boy story. So I think you may be able to get it onto your TV with no problem, because I know I look back on a couple of weeks, 60 Minutes, and you find it. So you may be able to see it on your TV. Look, this Ritchie Boy story on TV.
Thank you. Okay, moving right along. We'll have the report from our National Executive Director virtually, Mr. Ken Greenberg.
Hello, everybody. I'm very pleased to join the Jewish War Veterans as a National Executive Director. My report is going to focus on several veterans issues. The two highlighted issues are featured as concurrent receipt, and I'm calling on all Jewish war veterans to contact their members of Congress to support the Major Richard Starr Act, which is to support combat injured veterans. We have 55 co-sponsors. We have 71 co-sponsors in the House. The Major Richard Starr Act, we are trying to get included as a piece of the NDA 2023. If you do not know what combat or what Richard Starr Act, he is a standard bearer. He passed away in February. And this is where JWV passed a resolution where currently combat injured veterans are subject to an offset where their medical retirement pay is reduced by dollar for dollar. And in some cases, their retirement pay gets reduced even more. So I call on all Jewish war veterans to support their Major Richard Starr Act. The second issue I want to talk about is toxic exposure and the major push to move forward on issues related to the Senate and House Veterans Affairs Committee to push forward on the Cost of Fair Act and the Honoring for PACT Act. These are two major toxic exposure bills and will make a major issue in moving forward for these veterans who are exposed to toxic exposure. Most importantly, my report includes an attachment that outlined my NED report. It covered a number of things that I did in my time since being hired. I'm very proud that we were able to do a number of things. For example, we were able to get the headquarters staff to be more responsive, and we are very much more involved with Congress to be their eyes and ears as the NED to be involved and cover all these congressional things. We're also able to highlight the Jews in military and how JWV reaches out and supports Jewish veterans for different issues. We're also speaking out against anti-Semitism, like Nelson noted in addition. And then I'm coordinating with Operations Director Byrne to make sure the office is run efficiently and effectively. I'm also very proud that I was able to stand with Commander Pally at the Veterans Day event, help him in getting his remarks done. They were very well received, and then we were able to have a wonderful reception that was very well received as a lunch. So that covers a lot of different things that I've done in my time here. I look forward to working with you. The additional attachment was on the Hill, and that was the article in the Jewish Veteran that covered a lot of different issues. I call on you to look at the three attachments and my content so that you will learn and have information about legislation, about what I have done to build coalitions for JWV to be involved in many different things. And I call on anyone to contact me. I look forward to working with you. And, I'm available by email or to answer any questions. I hope this report is helpful to you and builds a lot of different issues for you and shows that JWV is at the forefront in moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Greenberg, and welcome to our group. We'll now have the report from our National Judge Advocate, Peter Nikitas. Peter?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Peter Nikitas, National Judge Advocate, reporting. Comrades, this report reaches you in my third year of service as the National Judge Advocate. I renew my observation that in times as these, each of us, in our respective places, according to our respective talents, must fulfill our civic duties to this nation and our obligations to fulfill Torah mitzvot with equal fervor. I'll address several topics, including a resolution for new business of an emergent nature. First, continuity of governance. Continuity of governance by the National Commander's order to allow the continuation of JWV business at all echelons by virtual means remains in effect. The practice of two successive National Commanders, Harvey Weiner and Jeffrey Sachs, and incumbent National Commander Alan Paley. Constitutional reform is as follows. The JWV National Convention of 2021 commissioned the Constitution and Bylaws Committee with National Vice Commander Nelson Melitz presiding to review all proposed amendments from 2020 and 2021 to the Constitution and Bylaws to present a revised Constitution and Bylaws to the NEC. The Constitution and Bylaws Committee has met in virtual space since the convention, with the most recent biweekly convention taking place on the 24th of January. The committee includes, as chair, National Vice Commander Nelson Melitz, past National Commander Harvey Weiner, past National Commander David Magnuson, NEC member from Talos Scott Stevens, Department Commander of Wisconsin Kim Queen, Department Commander of Florida Larry Jasper, past National Commander Larry Schulman, and myself. National Executive Director Ken Greenberg and JWV Assistant Christy Turner have attended these meetings as well. Another important matter since the last report at the National Convention was the selection of a National Executive Director. The JWV Ad Hoc National Executive Director Hiring Committee, which PNC Barry Schneider chaired, recommended Kenneth Greenberg to the JWV NEC as the National Executive Director to succeed Herb Rosenbluth. All members of the Ad Hoc Committee merit praise for a job well done. Matter of boards of inquiry. I conducted a preliminary investigation into actions, including fundraising, of two members of the Department of California posts that they have taken in the name of the JWV. I referred the result of my investigation to the Board of Inquiry for further action. The JWV followed up with this action by issuance on or about the 21st of January of two restricted delivery U.S. mail letters to the respective members in question to cease and desist their unauthorized fundraising activities in the name of the JWV. This case may require civil action in California to enjoin or stop this conduct that misappropriates the good name of the JWV. Precedent involving a JWV echelon in Michigan already exists. This case presents facts that implicate disciplinary provisions within the JWV Constitution and bylaws. Stay tuned for further developments. Interaction with lower echelons. I have fielded several inquiries from departments and NEC members seeking interpretation of our Constitution and bylaws for governance of lower echelons and important committees. The plain words of our governing instruments have yielded answers readily. As a result of our work at the national echelon for revision of our Constitution and bylaws, I can report that at least one department, Minnesota, has taken on itself to overhaul and adopt new bylaws. That work is in progress. Many of my duties from day to day include review of ordinary contracts, Some contracts are rather important. Let me talk to you about the trip to Israel contract. Past National Commander Maxwell Cologne, chair of the committee organizing the trip to Israel, recommends cancellation of the prospective 2022 trip in view of the limited subscription for tickets and Israel's traveling restrictions arising from the pandemic. The same actions ensued in 2020 and 2021. I recommend the cancellation of this trip with any needed refunds to follow. Okay. Government relations is another topic that I address. Pirkei Avot teaches two seemingly discordant precepts: be part of the community and do not get close to the government. To serve the community, we as the JWV must engage the government without being a captive of government. Not mixing in is no option when the chips are down. In engagement with the Biden administration's Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Dennis McDonough, I recommend again the points that past National Commander Harvey Weiner made for our guidance, that the Secretary of Veterans Affairs place loyalty to veterans first over administration loyalty, that the Department of Veterans Affairs halt the privatization project of the previous administration, and that the administration strengthen the Department of Veterans Affairs as the publicly accountable, most highly skilled medical organization that serves veterans. I consider this of a special importance because Secretary McDonough is neither a veteran nor a doctor. Legislation before Congress has direct effect upon the funding and operation of the Department of Veterans Affairs. The Biden administration's Build Back Better omnibus legislation has met apparently insurmountable obstacles. While efforts to salvage portions of the omnibus legislation continue, we must watch carefully legislative efforts that affect veterans' benefits, particularly funding for the Veterans Health Administration and Veterans Benefits Administration. Privatizers with enormous financial resources show propensity to act in stealth and overtly with numerous allies in Congress. National Executive Director Kenneth Greenberg has the latest picture on legislation that affects veterans. Patrick Henry's advice applies. Eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. Here is the emergent project for a resolution before the NEC. On Sunday, 23 January 2022, while much of the nation watched NFL playoff games safely at home, Casey Weinstein, U.S. Air Force Academy graduate of 2004, his wife Amanda, U.S. Air Force Academy 2004, and their family of 3 children came under pressure in their home in Hudson, Ohio by a caravan of self-identified pro-Trump supporters driving 35 trucks festooned with Gadsden Rattlesnake, Don't Tread on Me flags and banners proclaiming kneel before the cross. You may see a link at news5cleveland.com. Protesters allegedly supporting Trump gather outside State Rep Weinstein's Hudson home. Casey Weinstein is an Air Force veteran, a Democratic state representative from the suburban Cleveland city of Hudson, Hudson, Ohio. We have a Hudson, Wisconsin near St. Paul. Hudson, Ohio. And the son of JWV member Mikey Weinstein, U.S. Air Force Academy graduate of 1977 and the founder of the Military Religious Freedom Foundation. The MRFF has made itself the effective tip of the spear in exposing and addressing religious intolerance and anti-Semitism in the armed forces. The JWV has supported MRFF in many projects, most notably the case of the swastika headstones at Fort Sam Houston Cemetery. This story involving Representative Casey Weinstein has attracted the attention of Vanity Fair magazine. Jeff Charlotte, a writer for Vanity Fair, will publish a story about Casey's case in their next issue. It would be very helpful if we adopt a resolution here at the NEC in support of Casey Weinstein and his family, and condemn the anti-Semitic protesters who protested within a few yards of his house in Hudson, Ohio. I strongly urge the adoption of a motion embracing a public declaration of support.
Peter, could you hold on a minute? okay? I'm going to allow us right now to go to new business because in order to have a vote and adopt this, we have to be on the new business. So if you would like to make your motion right now, we can vote on it. Go ahead.
I do that right now. I move and strongly urge this motion, a public declaration of support for Casey and Amanda Weinstein and their family, and an unequivocal condemnation of the anti-Semitic rabble that demonstrated menacingly in front of their house on 23 January 2022. I move this adoption of this motion by the
Second?
GWB forthwith.
Okay, it's been seconded. Any question on this motion? Go to the microphone, or the microphone will come to you.
I asked for a sponsor. Well, I'm not a member of the NEC. Okay, I think we have to add a few more words because it was mentioned earlier that Casey Weinstein is running for political office. So what to say we support Casey Weinstein, I think we need to be a little more specific because we do not want to violate Article 2 of our national constitution. Support him in his something, but not just to say support, because that could be taken as political support.
Okay, okay, Peter, can you restate that?
Certainly, he's a
Your motion?
Weinstein's he's an incumbent.
Can't hear you.
He's not. Oh, sir, am I? Looks like I'm not muted.
Okay.
He's an incumbent. He's not running for office per se, except that it appears that all incumbents are constantly running. But the motion is for a resolution of support of Representative Casey and Amanda Weinstein and their family, and an unequivocal condemnation of the anti-Semitic rabble that menaced them in front of their house on 23 January 2022.
Okay, thank you. Jeff?
Jeffrey Sachs, Post 800, Lincolnwood, Illinois. Peter, you mentioned that the representative is a veteran, a Jewish veteran, a graduate of the Air Force Academy, and so is his wife, correct?
What happens is when somebody talks, they mute, they have to mute. Now it's his turn to talk, so it's a back.
Hold on, he needs to be unmuted.
That's what Kara's
Can you
doing.
tell Peter to accept?
Can't
mute?
have it that quickly.
Can you tell Peter to unmute himself?
Peter, unmute yourself.
Here we go. Mr. Chairman, I address past National Commander Sachs's question. Casey Weinstein is a 2004 graduate of the Air Force Academy. He is an Air Force veteran. His wife, Amanda, is a 2004 graduate of the Air Force Academy. She is an Air Force veteran. Casey's father is a Jewish War Veterans member. He is an Air Force Academy graduate of 1977. And Casey's grandfather is a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy class of 1953. And it happens his great-grandfather served in the armed forces in World War I.
So in reality,
Generations of
we
Jewish
want to support a
veterans.
family of Jewish veterans against this, I don't even know what to call it,
Atrocity.
anti-Semitism. Thank you.
Michael Berman, you had a hand up? You need a microphone?
I would come out very much in favor of the resolution, striking the word representative.
Friendly amendment. I accept.
Thank you, Peter.
Anybody else before we take a vote on this? Okay, well, I was going to take a vote on this. All in favor? Opposed? It's all moved, Peter. Unmute. Unmute, Peter.
Goodness gracious. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and I yield the balance of my time to the NEC. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good job. Yes, David Mag stood up for a couple of venues.
First, let me apologize for the phone ringing. I can't stop people from calling, so I do the best I can with that. So I apologize. First, Norman had to step out for about 2 hours, so I've got to play coordinating committee, at least part of it right now. He wanted me to just say that basically the coordinating committee, and I'm going to have a motion dealing with the coordinating committee under new business because it doesn't need to be taken up at this particular time, or I guess we could and get it over with. Yeah, I guess we could. So if you don't mind, please, you're in charge. So I appreciate it. And then I'll get to the 125th, which is the exciting stuff. To give you an idea, there's a coordinating committee, and as Barry has so researched it, and also Scott of TALO, the coordinating committee basically, as specified in a prior memorandum of the NEC, they coordinate between the JWV and the museum. And you heard Michael talking about the museum as a separate entity from JWV. And so there needs to be coordination between it. What's happened is it's taken on a role a little bit more than that because when the NEC is not meeting once a month, they meet anyway because they're required to, and I'll talk about it. But that's what goes on with that. Now, what's happened is that Norman and a number of other people have felt that it ought to be expanded by a couple of members. So it exists now due to a memorandum of the NEC. That's the first point. Okay? The second point is it's trying to be expanded so that more people can be within the NEC, within the coordinating committee. So let me read what Norman has for me in the motion. This memorandum sets forth the principles and guidelines for establishing and maintaining a cooperative relationship between the Jewish War Veterans of the USA, hereby referred to as JWV, and the Jewish War Veterans National Memorial, INC, here and after referred to as NMI, a bunch of letters. The implementation of the coordinating committee herein created by the memorandum, the respective parties, meaning both, desire to provide for program coordination and effective administration operations to achieve the common objectives for which each organization was established and honored by the granting of a federal charter by the Congress of the United States of America, as Michael specified. The memorandum of understanding consists of the following propositions. One, there is established a coordinating committee which shall carry out the aims and goals of this document, number one. Number two, the membership of the coordinating committee shall be, and show you how it expands, shall include the incumbent national commander of JWV, the incumbent and president of NMI, 5 members designated by the national commander of JWV, and 5 members designated by the president of NMI. And the chairman of the coordinating committee shall be selected by the national commander of JWV in addition. So the way it appears to me, what Norman handed to me and what I believe to be correct is as follows. You would have the national commander, he would appoint or she would appoint 5 members. So that would make 6. The head of the NMI, he or she, would appoint themselves automatically and 5 members. So now we're up to 12. And the national commander of JWV would appoint number 13, lucky number 13. Right now, I believe it exists as either 10 or 11. So basically, the whole purpose of this, because without it, and if it's voted down, it goes back to 10 or 11. All it's doing is extending that to allow more people to be, and more people, well, yes, Michael. There you go. So that's what we're trying to do. At least that's what it says, and that's what we would be voting on. It has to be signed, approved by the NEC, and then it has to be approved by the Board of Directors of the National Museum of American Jewish Military History. So that's the motion that Norman handed to me under new business. So if there's any discussion, please. You need a mic because we're doing the virtual mic. Mike, we're doing the virtual mic, so it's a double mic. There you go. I don't think it's...
Just for a clarification point, for those who don't understand, NMI stands for National Memorial Incorporated, which is an earlier name of our museum. We're now called the National Museum of American Jewish Military History. Prior to that, we were known as the National Memorial, Inc. Prior to that, I think it was called the Shriner to the Jewish Dead. So that's the quick history, and that's why those initials are there.
Thanks, man.
Maybe perhaps, Mr. Chairman, we could change NMI at the same time to our current usage.
Well, I think we'd have to wait. I need to have it discussed by more than just you and me right at this
Right.
point. We have to have more input. That's the motion before us. Basically, as I tell you, it's to expand it rather than contract it. It's a memorandum to replace a previous memorandum. Yes, sir. If you have to go to, oh, Jerry, go ahead. I'm Jerry Barry, excuse me.
Thank you. I think this is basically a good move, but I have two questions. One, does this absolutely replace the previous memorandum of understanding and then make an attempt to move us into the modern world?
The answer is I don't know. I'm looking at Michael who says no. To me, it would seem to be, it establishes something. I don't know if there's anything else in the old one because I don't have it and Norman just handed it to me. So we would take a look at it and see if there's anything else that exists previously. I don't, the truth is I don't know.
Could you enunciate the current members of this committee?
I couldn't enunciate them. I can, well, go ahead, Michael. We'll wait for a microphone. Barry has asked to enunciate it. I could tell you who some of them, I can tell you that I'm the vice chairman, which is why I'm doing this right now.
The only, as I understand it, the only change is adding 2 members, one from the museum, 2 from the museum, which will be meeting tomorrow, and 2 from JWV, which is meeting today. It adds 2 new members from each side.
Okay, well then I was wrong on my numerical count. But Barry, I'm trying to answer your question. I can tell you that I know you're a member. I know I'm a member. I know that Michael's a member. Alan's a member. Those are the ones, and obviously Norman. Nelson's a member.
All right, it was a baited question, as you well know.
Why
So-
bait me? I'm an innocent party.
No, you're not. Second, the next question I have is, since this has been proposed, was there a second to this motion?
I'm sorry. I just wanted to have discussion on it now that's new business, but I have a second right now.
Normally, I believe seconds are required before discussion.
Right, but as we did yesterday, we didn't want to, as we did when taking things off the floor, we tried to get the meat of things and the honesty, more than it would be more substantive than non-substantive. So, but we have a second, which is Michael Berman.
Okay. The next item is, you announced yourself as vice chairman. I see nothing about the appointment of a vice chairman in this memorandum.
That's correct.
So
But then I would lose my position, obviously. It could be a playing
I
vice chairman. I don't care.
I think we need a vice chairman, but I think it needs to be in the memorandum.
Okay, we will add the,
Since this was just brought forth and nobody has seen this, up until now, I recommend that we table this for further discussion and proper implementation so that we actually know what we're doing instead of just going off half-cocked into the wind.
you point of order, but we vote on tabling. Go ahead. Wait till you get the microphone.
Chairman, under Robert's rules, you cannot speak on a motion to table. Therefore, the motion to table is out of order.
He's playing on what you played with him yesterday. He's correct. I do. Here's what it is, Barry. If you want to move to table, you just have to stand up and say table. If you speak on it, then you can't move to table. That's the Robert's rules. All we're trying to do is see if we can get something that's passed. But you have every right to do what you need to do. But we think it would be better now to add people rather than wait to not add people, since there's no change. And that if anybody wants to change it, they certainly have the right to come before this body and change it next year if they want, or at the convention, because that's when we meet again. Somebody else would care to speak. If not, we're going to vote on it.
Sid Lichter, Post 47, Department of New Jersey. Since we have earlier decided, or the National Commander decided, that each committee should have a vice chairman, it's almost by default that someone must be appointed as a vice chairman.
Okay, I will handle it this way. what we're going to have is an amendment. It'll be a friendly amendment to this to add vice chairman. It's a friendly amendment. So now it's in there because I'm the proponent at this point. Okay, we're going to have a vote right now. Oh, I'm sorry. Was there somebody else that wanted to speak on it? Yes, sir. I don't want to preclude anybody, but I want to move it.
You're adding a vice, you said you're vice chairman. Is that going to be one of the members from this committee?
That's correct.
Okay.
And I needed to specify that and I didn't. Thank you. Raquel, if somebody, you want to come to the microphone?
There seems to be
Carl
some
will be in a minute.
confusion.
Raquel has been waiting. Okay, you want Carl to speak? Oh, I'm sorry. Gentleman there.
Ron
Just
Zavarno.
briefly, I understand that this is a fairly new motion. Is it 2 members? Is it 2 times 2 members? It just seems to be that the chalk is a little bit wet. Could somebody?
How is it wet, Carl, when you're saying that
Because you
the
first
national
said-
commander is one, that
Excuse
he
me.
appoints, or
May I
she
speak?
appoints 5, that the
May I
National
speak?
Museum
If first you said-
person is the chairperson, he or she is 1, and they appoint 5, and the national commander, I'm sorry, what else?
You said at one point that there were 2 coming from the museum side and 2 coming from the JWV side. That's a different number than what you spoke. I'm not against the motion. I just don't see it as a clear statement.
You're right, it's not clear. That part is not clear, but the number is in the ultimate, whether you add 1 or 2 at this particular point, it's more instead of less, and the number is specified exactly. And like I said, I was handed this, but it seems that it has import at this point. So we're going to vote on it, unless somebody, I'm sorry, you wanted to speak. Yes, correct. And Raquel as well. Please, sir.
Ron Zavarno. Ron Zavarno, Department of Talo. A motion to table.
Yes, sir. Motion to table has no discussion on it. We're going to vote to table or not to table. The only people that can vote are the NEC. What we're first going to do is we're going to vote on the number here in the body, and then we will go to virtual. Does that work, Kara? We can do it that way. Okay, we're going to count. So all in favor of all in favor, this is a motion to table, not to vote on the motion. To table, to put it off till at least August. So all in favor of tabling, please raise your hand. Count, please. Ten. All against, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You count. And you add mine to it. Allen's counting. Add mine is 15. Okay, 14. 14. Well, I want to make sure again, because I want to make sure the count is correct. Both, this is on the motion to table. Those opposed, are those in favor of the motion to table, raise your hand. Count it again, I'll make sure. Those opposed, raise your hand and keep them up while Alan's counting. And you. You counted me. That's 14. Okay, now you will count the 6-2.
In favor of tabling, against, online.
The motion, no, the motion, yeah, motion to table.
I had 6 that want to table and.
No, it's the other way, Alan. No, it's the other way, Alan.
Yes, 6 in favor of it.
10 and 6 is 16.
Okay.
16 and 14.
I think it is tabled. Yes, sir.
Or against the
But they
motion,
can't hear you at home.
include a count of the virtual members. So you're not making.
Okay, we'll do that again, but I think the motion to table was passed. But we'll do it again. All in favor, even at home, of the motion to table, we'll follow your advice. Of the motion to table, raise your hand, please.
And I have
Okay, that's 20. All those opposed to the motion to table, raise your hand. Okay, it's 20 to 17. The motion to table passes. Thank you on that. Now, let me talk to you about what I really wanted to talk to you about today. This deals with the 125th. Now, we raised money. We came to all of you back 5 years ago, and we said we're going to be in charge of the what goes on in Arlington Cemetery on Veterans Day 2021. And we said instead of raising dues, instead of showing, we'd raise money from friends, we'd raise money from the posts, we'd raise money. That's how we'd raise money. And we needed to raise about $50,000, $60,000, we thought. Who knew about COVID? Along comes COVID, and give me your attention on this stuff because it'll be fun. At the end, along comes COVID, and so everything had to be scaled back. Arlington Cemetery was scaled back. The number of people going to attend a luncheon was scaled back, and we were scheduled to have a dinner. And that was canceled, all based upon COVID. But we still had the funds, and we ended up raising at that point $60,000. Then it was $70,000. We've raised almost $90,000. The costs to us are between $30,000 and $40,000 to date. That leaves about $50,000 or $40,000 to $50,000. Now, we had promised all those people we're scheduling a dinner, and we went ahead with it. Thank goodness we have Eddie Goldwasser, past National Commander Eddie Goldwasser, who's done the convention stuff. And what we scheduled after speaking to all the players, and this, by the way, when Nelson was talking about, or Alan was talking about how great a reception there was for all the other military organizations, it was done because of you. You're the ones that reached into your friends, into your pockets and the rest, and got it for us. So we may have done something, but you did it. And I thank you for it. But in any case, we've rescheduled it for what Mike said, Cinco de Mayo, welcome to Florida. I'll say, dice aquí, bienvenido a Florida. But that's what you got to do here. In any case, it turns out that the date that was appropriate for most people was the 5th of May, 5 May. And it's a lot better in DC, having grown up in DC, than it is in February or early March. I guarantee it. And it doesn't affect anything to do with cherry blossoms, because cherry blossoms come out normally the last week of March into the early part of April, excuse me. So we have it on the 5th of May, which is a Thursday night. Eddie, as I said, Eddie Goldwasser performed miracles in a sense. He knows his stuff. And we used to have to pay tax in Virginia, but we don't have to pay tax in District of Columbia. So we're saving on that. So what we needed to do is have a dinner, which we're going to have at the Shoreham Omni, because he has a relationship with the Omni. And what we're going to do is not only have a dinner honoring in celebration of the 125th at the hotel at the Shoreham Omni on what we say Cinco de Mayo or 5th of May, Thursday, but what we're also going to have is we're going to honor our past executive director, Herb Rosenbluth, who deserves any accolades we can give him for what he's done for this organization. I spoke to Herb, and Herb may be able to make it, may not be able to make it, but he wants it. He's honored by it, and he would like very much to make it. So it's a dual purpose or triple purpose in a sense, because you heard Mike talk. We have funds, and we can sponsor a reception at the museum. And I think the donors would appreciate that for the 125th and whatever we're doing for the museum and whatever we're doing for Vietnam vets. In addition, we're going to have people that will take, as Mike said, back to the hotel, etc. Now, as far as the hotel is concerned, we've been able to book 15 rooms to begin with. You have to understand the rates. In DC, if we were in February, early March, they'd be very inexpensive to a degree. But this is May now, so they're much higher. And the first rate that was quoted to Eddie was almost $300 at the Omni. He was able to negotiate it down to $250. So I thank Eddie for that. But that would be for 2 nights. But other hotels may be able to do it for $200 that are around there. So what we're going to do is for anybody that stays there, we'll subsidize by $100 their stay on Thursday night, not Wednesday night. I want to be clear. And anybody that wants a hotel room for either Thursday or both Wednesday and Thursday, please speak to Kara so you can get on the list. We have 15. We'll go back to them and say, give us another 15. And then we'd have 30 or whatever. But you've got to speak to Kara, and this cannot be done at the last minute as far as the hotels are concerned. And again, this is all dependent on COVID. I can't tell you what tomorrow will bring, let alone what will happen on May the 5th. Oh, by the way, that's Israel's Independence Day. So that's a fourth thing we can throw into it. It's Israel's Independence Day. The day before is that day when they honor the soldiers of the IDF, et cetera, that died. But this is Israel's Independence Day, the 5th of May. So with Ken, we're going to hope to have speakers, maybe from the White House if we can, from the military, general, maybe, admiral. We'll hopefully have speakers from the Veterans Administration. And we'll hopefully have speakers, if we can, from the Israeli embassy, knowing that they'll have to go to a million other places that day. The dinner will be spectacular. It will be, because we have the funds to do it, and Eddie's already ordered the food. I'm trying to think of there's a couple other things I need to say, and I just want to reflect on it and think about it at this particular point. I'm just saying is do the best you can. Make sure you call Kara. Oh yeah, I remember what it is now. What it is who can go? Because we said for every $500 your unit is given, you at least are guaranteed one ticket. So if, for example, in Florida or Taylor or whatever, we gave 5,000 each, that's 10 tickets to begin with. In addition, I took a list of people at the convention, and I said, are you interested in coming? And if they were on the list. If you're interested in coming, please call Kara. I will call in the next 2 weeks all of the people that donated money and say, do you want your tickets or do you not want your tickets? Do you want to give some up? Do you not want to give some up? Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Ken, you wanted to speak, and then I'll finish up.
Yeah, thank you, David. I actually had a discussion with the Israeli embassy today, and they are actually pushing their event back. So I have some kind of commitment that somebody from the Israeli embassy will be participating. Not sure who, but that's another thing that we can add on to this piece of the puzzle.
Terrific. Thanks, Ken. That's what Ken's doing, and he's there and he's helping us. What I was saying was, if, for example, if you gave, your post gave $1,000, you're guaranteed to, and I will be calling you. That's my responsibility, to call you in the next 2 weeks. And I will say, you have 5 tickets or you have 10 tickets, but we're going to have to make room for people like at the embassy or friends or other people, military coalition people that we can invite for Herb, or that somebody that might be interested, 1 or 2 in the Vietnam part, because we're in connection with the museum, or other things like that. And there's people that can't afford to have given $500, and we want to make that available to them if their tickets are not being used. So if you're interested, but I will personally call everyone that's donated to find out and say, and you have to get back to me within 2 weeks and say, yeah, I want it for myself and my wife, or my special person, or my husband. I don't care whatever the relationship is. I don't care who you are as far as that's concerned. But that you have to get back to me on. So I know I've spoken a lot, and I'm sorry for taking all your time, but I think it's important. I think it's going to be a wonderful event as long as COVID allows us to do it. And it's being done in the right name. People have donated money because they love JWV, and they wanted us to have a spectacular 125th. And we're honoring not only JWV, not only Vietnam vets, not only the memorial, National Museum of American Jewish Military History, but Herb, who deserves all our love and thanks. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks. Just as a reminder, we have approximately 1/2 hour. I don't think it'll be any, right?
I mean, if you go over, you go over.
Yep. Okay, so, we have approximately a half an hour and shouldn't have any problem. Okay, Ken, you're on.
Yeah, David, I also spoke with the Israeli embassy. They want to partner with us with the World War II Museum that they are going to be opening in June in Israel. So I have actually set up a meeting for next week or the week after for Mike Berman, Mike Ruggles, Pam, Kara, and myself to meet with people from the Israeli embassy and try and work out an event for them to participate with the museum. They want to come by the museum. They want to understand what the museum is, and then how we partner with them with their museum, World War II museum. I put a number of people on some emails earlier this week or last week. David, I know you were on this because this also tied into the 125th. So this is all just trying to come together. I'm trying to work the issues, and we'll see what happens.
Okay. Mike, use Mike.
When is the meeting, Ken? Or do we not have a date yet?
Mike, don't have a date. It'll be next week or the week after. And they want to actually come to the museum because they have never been to the museum and they want to see it and they want to understand what the museum is. And I explained to them in a summary that it covers all of Jewish veterans, service members, how they deal with things, how we presented the Jewish service members and veterans, and they were very excited to come because the two people have never been there. So it really is a good way to use the museum and use the museum on the 5th of May and partner with the embassy and then potentially partner with their museum in Israel.
Okay, that's a question. We have a question in the audience? Is that? Okay, we're going to move along to actions relative to charters, name changes, et cetera. I think we'll start with Commander Dr. Barry Schneider. You have that one to move? Okay, so. Okay. Mr. Ron?
Yes, Ron Severnal, Department of Talo. Proposal to close post 581 Shreveport, Louisiana. Have two members who will be transferred to post 256. The post has no money. In fact, they never opened a checking account.
Okay, thank you. Any opposition to this? Okay, got somebody? Jeffrey Blonder? Okay, unmute. Mr. Blonder, yeah, unmute.
I'd like to offer an amendment for this. I've been an NEC member, first I'll give you a little background. I've been an NEC member for a few years. And every NEC meeting I attend, I hear posts dissolving and merging. I've yet to hear a new post being added. So I'd like to add an amendment going forward. And my amendment is before any posts are merged or dissolved, a report from the department commander must be presented to the NEC members 30 days in advance. This report must contain a list of all members in the post being merged or dissolved with all actions taken to contact these members and what other steps have been taken to try to resolve the post failure to increase membership. I think we take this too cavalier. We seem to close posts willy-nilly And if we keep closing posts and not adding new posts, we won't be in existence much longer. I want to make sure every effort is done before we dissolve or merge a post. Have we advertised in the local newspaper for members? Have we gone to the local synagogues and asked for members? There are still Jewish veterans out there that aren't members of JWV. And if we keep closing posts, it sends a bad message to people saying, you know, we're a dying organization. And I guess we have to decide, are we a living organization or a dying organization? And I move my amendment.
Point of order,
Okay, this isn't the time to,
point of
Okay.
order.
go ahead.
The motion is out of order. It
Exactly.
belongs under new business, and it is not about any of the charter changes or whatever that are listed. So
So-
it's come at the totally wrong time in the meeting.
On the new business, you can bring it up again. Okay. Okay, any objections to this last motion? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? So move. We have submitted by Richard Fine, a proposal to dissolve post 239. Richard? Might as well stay up there.
Yep, we have 3 posts in Pennsylvania. 1 member or 2 members, no one wants to be an officer, no assets, and no meeting facility. All 3 posts are in a similar position. And the membership, the 2 or 3 members of the post, have voted to dissolve the post. 2 of the members from these 3 posts have accepted joining another post. The problem is these are mostly in the western part of the state, so you're talking 100 miles to get to another post. But they're just looking for a formal closing because they have no money and they have no members.
That applies for all 3 posts
All 3 posts, yes. It's
and all around Pittsburgh, shore of that part of the country.
Scranton, Erie, out in the western part. We were able to get 2 of those members who were willing to travel like 60 miles.
Understand.
The only, I have no problem with this. My response to what we heard before was if we could do more virtual meetings, we may be able to retain some of these people. But when it costs you more to have a meeting
Mm-hmm.
than you can bring in, or that members can't afford, and again, the similar problem we were discussing this morning, the age of the membership. The leaders have been leaders for 10, 15 years. They've had enough, but there's nobody younger to replace them.
Understood.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any objection to these 3 posts? All in favor? Opposed? Unfortunately, so moved. That's it for the name changes. We have anything else off the floor? We do not. So we'll go to committee reports. Richard Fine, you're up again for the budget.
Thank you.
Okay? And part of the problem is the mask. It's a triple mask. All right, I'm going to give you what we presented with the Budget Committee yesterday, which is the commentary on the budget. You each have a copy of the proposed budget. I'd like to first introduce who the members of the Budget Committee are. Barry Lashinsky from Massachusetts, Elliot Dunn from Connecticut, Larry Rosenthal of New Jersey, Joshua Ox of Florida, and Erwin Magid of Illinois, and David Zwern of New York. We're discussing the budget for the fiscal period beginning July 1, 22 and ending on June 30, 23. The budget represents JWV's short-term goals based on revenue received from normal operations. as we were discussing in the budget process yesterday, 2022, 2021, and 2023 have very little semblance to normality because of COVID. So in putting the budget together, we had to average, look at, and then contemplate what effects that would have on the budget. Long-term financial goals are planned and managed by the Finance Board, which is chaired by Joe Zolden and Erwin Burtnick. They do not serve as members of the Budget Committee. In the presentation you have in front of you, we're provided with the following financial information. The audited results of 2019 and 20, the unaudited 2021, because the year hasn't been finalized yet for audit. The year 2021 cash received July through November of 2021, that's 5 months. The budget for 2021 and the proposed 22 rather, and the proposed budget for 2023. The committee took the 5 months of actual cash received this year and divided by 5 to get a monthly average, and then in some cases projected that monthly amount out for 12 months. And I say for some items, basically because some things are not equal through the year. So on things which would be relatively the same through the year, using the monthly average works. Where things happen for 3 months out of 12, you could distort your numbers by either overemphasizing or underemphasizing the effect. In other cases, we look at the trends from 2017 through the first 5 months of 21 for each line item. And we compared the projected 12 months of results, the cash basis numbers from 2021, the numbers resulting from the analysis of the information provided by National, including the 17 through 20 trends, and then selected the most reasonable to us numbers. We projected revenues to be about $1,244,000, which is $119,000 more than was budgeted for this past year. Again, this past year has been heavily hit by the COVID. Most of the projected increase in revenue is due to bequests and contributions by our membership and outsiders. For certain line items within the fundraising activities, and for requests and contributions, we were very conservative in our estimates. Again, COVID is so unknown, we didn't want to overestimate revenues or underestimate costs. Our expense side, which we budgeted $1,388,000, is $165,000 more than we budgeted for the current year. This is partially due to a Homeland Security grant reduction of $81,000. So of the $165,000 increase, 81 of that would have been covered had we had another grant from the from Homeland Security. It will cover the security costs for both JWV and the museum, as well as some anticipated reduction due to our lower membership base. Barry discussed this morning, as our membership base decreases, so does our revenues. We continued with our new expense categories, which are marketing and National Commander's expense. We reduced the marketing expense line from $20,000, which was originally requested, to $15,000. And we kept the Vice Commander's expense at $5,000. As we've done in the past, we reviewed every revenue and expense line within the budget and have in many cases offered suggestions to the coordinating committee on how to either increase certain revenue line items or reduce expense line items. Overall, the bottom line for 2023 is a net loss of $144,000, which is $46,000 less than we had budgeted for the current year. Yes.
Question on the payroll is our biggest expense, but our second biggest expense is rent expense. What are we renting?
The rent and common utilities is a combination between national headquarters and the museum. We have to.
Okay, the museum owns the building, but JWV pays all of the bills. So what happens at the end of the year when the auditors examine the books, they make adjusting entries back and forth on a proportionate share of what the museum should be charged versus what JWV should be credited.
Thank you. We have Carl. Carl's recognized right now.
A general statement, those of us who are zooming into this meeting have spent over 2 hours listening to verbal reports, not a sheet of paper, nothing in advance, whether it's the budget, whether it's a post that needs to close or whatever else. A lesson to be learned going forward is those of us, I mean, I'm basically trying to hear things and look at a tiny screen. We need to be able to provide data to people ahead of time. Motions need to be in writing and distributed via email or whatever before the meetings and such. This is like riding a horse without reins.
Thank you,
Sorry,
Carl.
Kilo.
Anybody else? Okay, so personnel, Arthur Kaplan.
Yes, we had a personnel meeting this morning, yesterday, I'm sorry. And we had a few comments, what we're looking into. There was one.
We can hear you.
Okay, well, hold off.
Can you get rid of it?
Accept the budget.
Okay, we need a motion to accept the budget as read. Ainslie, seconded. Larry Jasper, all in favor? Opposed? So moved. Okay, sorry about that. Arthur, now it's your turn.
Know where you come from. We had a meeting yesterday and there were a few comments which I discussed, some with Ben Kane and some I'll have to discuss a little later. One comment was to separate the zip code. For instance, they put the zip code 75081 dash and another 4 numbers. Some of the departments can't separate, have so many different posts in it that they can't separate the zip codes to send to one post versus another post because of the number of numbers that there are. I discussed with Ben rather, getting the if somebody emails an application or does it through the computer, it used to take a long time to get their name, address, phone number, and email address, and we'd lose touch with them and they'd go somewhere else. So he said he's working on that and hopefully it'll come through so we can contact the new member immediately. Also, I need the job description of everybody that works at the JWV office. That's my report.
We need to vote on this? All right, so our next report will be on convention, PNC Ed Goldwasser.
Yes,
Please keep it on mute.
Mr. Chairman, do you hear me?
Yes.
All right, first of all, before I give the report in total, let me give some clarification here. It was my understanding that there's some confusion as to what the responsibility of the Convention Corporation has been over the years and what's been happening. Several years ago, the NEC meetings were always arranged by staff at national headquarters. There came a time where the Hilton Hotel in Arlington was doing renovations, and they took away our meeting space where we were committed there. And I received a phone call as chairman of the convention if I can find a hotel for our NEC. And that's when we moved to the Marriott and had multiple year contracts over the years with the Marriott. But that's how it became involved with the convention committee. It was never the responsibility of the convention committee prior to that incident. It was suggested that we move it out of Washington, and that's why you are where you are today. But because of all the costs involved with staff and what have you, it behooves us to remain in the Washington area. So it was only a recommendation, and it would be staff's responsibility to get proposals for the NEC. As far as other matters that I have been contacted with, they don't become problems of or the program of the convention committee. Like Dave Magidson, and I thank him for his comments, asked me if I would get involved with the luncheon after Veterans Day with the caterer, my experience with the caterer, so I got involved there. When we then became involved with trying to arrange the dinner at the Omni, if you recall, we had a dinner there for our 100th anniversary and our march against Nazi Germany. I arranged a dinner there. That doesn't become part of the Convention Corporation's authority, but it's something that I was called upon because of my experience. So I just wanted to get that cleared up. As far as the convention committee meeting is concerned, it has been determined that the rate for next year or this year rather, in this August in Savannah will be the 165. If anybody wants to go on to their computer and look at rates in Savannah for that period of time, they go anywhere from 220 to 280 based upon the availability and facilities of the hotel. There are cheaper rooms. It's just a room, but it doesn't give you the meeting space and what have you that we require. And that's before taxes. And our 165 is all inclusive. There's a 13% sales tax. There's a 1% city tax, a $1 city tax, and a $5 county tax on top of the sales tax. So this all adds up to approximately an additional $20 of taxes. So basically, we're at approximately the $145 net. As far as the next year is concerned, we are committed to Jacksonville, Florida, because that was the first convention we canceled because of the COVID. And there it includes a breakfast, and the rate had been established there also at 165. Beyond that, we have no further recommendations or properties to consider, although I have given out several specification sheets to various members of our organization who wanted to go back to their communities and solicit proposals, but we have received no proposals to date. So it is open as to where we go after 2023 in Jacksonville, Florida.
While you were talking.
And that is my report, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
Ed, I just want to clarify something. They just told me that when you quoted the rate of 165, you stated Jacksonville. It is Savannah at 165. Am I correct?
It is both.
Both? Okay.
It is both.
Okay.
Also the hybrid.
But he did, you couldn't hear him. but
I couldn't.
He said both.
Okay. And the other thing we want to bring up is the hybrid rate for Savannah is going to be $54 to get access through the PC, plus the convention registration fee, which is $55. So it'd be $109 if you want to attend via hybrid for Savannah.
Mr. Commander, I would suggest for the future, and I reiterate what Carl Singer had said, it is very difficult for us sitting at home, not even to have a copy of the agenda, let alone to follow a financial report and not have information available to us. So what we're voting on, I don't know. Don't ask me because I don't know what we voted on because I don't see anything.
Okay. It has been noted.
I left out one thing when I was talking about the 5th of May. There's a 40, if you go by train or plane, you can always get a car, Uber, whatever it is. But if you want to bring your own car, I think the parking fee will be $45. It's significant in the District of Columbia. So the rate is normally 55, but 4.5 per day. At least that's my understanding. We'll be more specific on it, but that's what I believe it is so that you know it. And to everybody that says you should have paper before, you're right. What we're learning is how to work virtually. And I think we're doing a pretty damn good job of it. We need to get papers, but I think the vote was an example of what we can do. And we're expanding it. So you're right. And we will do it next time. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for your input, and that was very good suggestions. We do need to improve on that part of it. So we will move along. Is Ari Tesla here? No, is he online? No? Okay. Marketing, Howard Goldstein.
Mr. Chairman, this is Howard Goldstein. Good afternoon to everyone. I hope you're enjoying this relatively warm weather for those of us from the northern part of the states. I was hoping a little bit warmer, but what the hell, it's better than snow. As you may remember, the National Marketing Committee started in 2019 and took on 4 challenges: to conduct a membership study, to create a centralized place to access all the good marketing materials within the organization, to create brand awareness, including creating a look and feel for all the echelons to use, and to create a brand awareness program to help retain and increase membership and to make the general public aware of our activities. In spite of COVID, we've gotten a lot done. The membership and former membership study was completed on time and under budget and is available for anyone who wants to take a look at it. The Resource Center is up and running after numerous delays, albeit with limited capabilities. If there is something you think might be of interest to others, such as presentations, marketing materials, documents, ads, please use the Resource Center submission form, which can be found on our website, or by contacting Christy Turner or any of the marketing committee members. Right now, access to the materials is currently limited to department commanders and committee chairs, but it's pretty simple to set up an account. It's password protected account, so somebody can't just get onto our website and take all of our materials. If anybody's interested, we can give you a little demonstration after the meeting. As you may have read in the Jewish Veteran and heard at the National Convention, our new branding guide is out with clear-cut graphic standards, instructions, and template files. If you've tried it, we really would appreciate it. We'd be in the committee. You appreciate your feedback on the use of it, how you used it, and how easy it was or not easy how to use. If you aren't aware of these materials, please ask your department commander or any member of the marketing committee Or if you get into the resource center, you can find it there or ask any member of the marketing committee. It's important for us to have a consistent look and feel across all echelons. We can show one face to the public this way. A successful awareness campaign requires consistent branding. Based upon the marketing audit we conducted prior to the development of the brand guide, we found too wide a variety of uses and variations of our logo and tagline. Some didn't even look like they're from the same organization. To support our efforts, the guide includes templates showing how to use the JWV logo and various communications types. As also, so in the future, all publications, trifolds, brochures, advertisements, tchotchkes and the like, which include the JWV logo, they should comply with the branding guide. Going forward, the use of local logos or formats that are inconsistent with the branding guide should be avoided. As we noted previously, there's no brand police to enforce the use of the guide, nor will we have to get permission from the marketing committee or the headquarters staff to revise those parts of the templates that do not involve the look and feel. If you get on the template, you'll see there's some fixed parts of it. Some of them are very well organized now. There's lots of copy and there's lots of pictures. The pictures and the copy can get changed, but the format, the colors, that kind of stuff cannot get changed. So we encourage people to use this so we can look at present JWV in a professional and consistent manner. Another thing we accomplished in the midst of the pandemic was the introduction at the most recent national convention was our booth. This is designed to promote and brand and set the branding standards and present a professional look at all regional and national meetings where large numbers of Jews and veterans will be in attendance. Some people like to call the booth just a pop-up, which it is. It's a really nice piece. If you saw pictures from the last national convention, it's very professional. Any echelon can order the booth, but all posts and department requests must have the department commander's approval. Shipping costs will be shared 50-50 between the requester and the National Marketing Committee. Once a department commander signs off on the form, which is a paper form, or we also will accept an email request, the committee will review it prior to authorizing the booth's use. Since it needs both approvals and will be shipped from either DC or wherever it was last used, please allow at least 30 days prior to any event when requesting the booth. Once approved, you are going to receive a contract for your signature guaranteeing the safe return of the booth prior to its being released for shipment. You will be paying for anything that happens bad, which hopefully nothing bad will happen. As to the future, we are moving ahead with developing a communication strategy to get our name out there. We need to be more proactive in getting our message and accomplishments out to Jews, veterans, and the general public. The committee has begun discussions with some outside vendors to help in this. We're considering various ways to conduct local and regional PR. This could include creating materials for use at the national, regional, local level. Could include templates and best practices. We're looking at extensively increasing our use of digital marketing, digital technology, where we can get our name out in many, many different parts of social media and other online. Just to wrap up, the marketing committee, comprised of myself as chairman, Steve Krant of Talo, who's the vice chairman, Kim Queen of Wisconsin, Sheila Berg of Pennsylvania, Greg Lee of California, Lou Michaels of Minnesota, Selena Kanowitz of New Jersey, and Larry Jasper with support of Florida, with support from Kara Rinkoff, Irina Apple, and Christy Turner of the staff. We plan to maintain our every second week meeting schedule going forward. If you have any suggestions for where you would like to see us go, ideas, recommendations, constructive comments, please talk to myself or any member of the committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Christian, Mel, take a microphone.
Just out of curiosity, why is the resource center going to be password protected? Hold on a second.
Question is, why is the resource center password protected? There's a lot of good proprietary information in there that's specifically JWV. We'd prefer not to have the whole world be taking it. The question is, why are we not making it easy for members to get in there? Right now, we want to test it out. Any member can get a right now it's been department commanders and committee chairs. Anybody can get a password, but they have to be a member, and that. Okay, what part doesn't make sense? If anybody can get at it, as long as you get a password. We just don't want anybody in the world to get into it. It's going to be on the website. Once it's on the website, it's open to the world.
So you're saying eventually we're going to have the resource center open to everybody without a password, correct? Thank you.
It will always be password protected.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm not going to stretch this out other than saying, if there's something proprietary, you don't put it on the resource center. If there's something that we can't show other people, you take it off. Anything available to the membership, you make it as easy as possible. That's the way I look at it. And
okay.
debate it later.
Yeah, could you get the microphone, please, to front row?
Right. When we were looking at this, and we
You
talked about
announce yourself?
Kim Queen, member of the marketing committee. When we were looking at having this, talking about password protection, if you go to the American Legion's website, you can look at anything on their website except member user materials. You have to enter your membership number to access member materials, such as their resource center, their training programs. Okay, we're doing the same thing. So no.
Okay.
But again, we talked about things where, again, people might take our material and misuse it in an anti-Semitic way, and that's why we thought about that. So right now, that's the way it is. If there's a need to change it, we'll look at that in the future. That's
Thank you.
just give
Thank
us a
you.
background. Thank you.
Any other questions about the report? No?
From my understanding is that, Rachel Hyman, Department of Southwest, is that, I hear what you're saying. But I think what you're saying also is that right now it's department commanders, but then it will expand. Is it that it will then expand to anybody, any member who wants to will then be able to get a password? But for right now, you just have it for department commanders. I really like to suggest, as far as the same thing with the branding guide, there's so many posts that if only department commanders have access to the branding guide, what the department commanders are not necessarily, there's so many posts out there that are wanting to do things. And if we want them, we've got to get the information out to as many people as possible. So if it's a question as far as the branding guide, at least as a minimum for post commanders, all post commanders to be able to have access to it as well, because then they can give it to whoever is doing the marketing materials for them. If we've got it done, the dissemination has to go out as wide as possible. So, because if we say that everybody is responsible for their own advertising, then if we're not giving them ready-made materials, then at least if we can give them the branding guide, then they can expand on that.
Okay, that's time. We have one last speaker.
I just want to respond to that. The branding guide will be on the resource center, but the branding guide is available to anybody in the post right now. Right now is the resource center password.
Okay. Okay, last speaker is Sid Lichter up here.
I would password protect the resource guide so that anybody who has access to the resource guide can pull up whatever portion of it they need, rather than password protecting each individual portion.
I'm sure they'll take that into advice. That's good. Okay, that was the last speaker, so we're going to move on. No, we're done. That's it. Barry Lashinsky, could you please come forward with your report?
Yeah, Barry Lashinsky, North Shore Post 220.
Please move forward up here. Yeah, it's just getting good. I see a pretty face. Nice tie.
Barry Lashinsky, North Shore Post 220, Massachusetts, the chairman of membership committee. And there are 3 slides that I want to show here, but I'm going to move a little fast because I understand we have to make up some time. First slide is we've taken the data. Since 2017, we've been collecting data from the conventions to the NEC to the conventions. So I've got data from 2017. Can you make that one full slide, please? Okay, we started out in 2021 convention with the ending total of 8,451, I'm sorry. By this month, when we closed the alpha roster, we had 7,844. Now follow those 2 numbers, and I'm going to give you another slide. 8,451 during that time period. Once again, from the convention to the NEC, we gained 102 members during the COVID. This is our lowest numbers that we've had for accessions into JWV since 2017. However, we do have to take the COVID into consideration. Our losses for that same period, 709. Now, I'm going to give you a breakdown of what the 709 are. Next slide, please. Oh, you're right there. If you can just go back to the second one, make it larger. Go down one more. Okay, we had a total of 709 losses. 229 were deaths during that period. We lost some valuable members, and that's really tough to replace because every member that we lose one member, you got to get 2 members to be ahead. So part of the 709, 229 for deaths. The other thing, because JWV has a generous program that we tend to keep people on 3 years after they've stopped paying dues, which I wish we could reduce. And my guidance to the next person that replaces me is we need to reduce that 3-year delta because it's not a factual number. If you look at 2018, we were scheduled to lose 484 members. In reality, we lost 471, which is we need a lot of work. That shows within the posts and departments, we've only retained a handful of people that we were scheduled to lose. So we really need to look at that. If we continue to go with that avenue, you look down at the next number, 2019, we're going to lose 548. And if you continue to go in 2020, we're going to lose 1,016. So I need the post commanders and I need the assistance of the department commanders. We need to bring those individuals back into our ranks. The posts have worked very hard to bring those individuals into our ranks. And now we have to work harder and try to retain them. So please, can bring them back. During our membership meeting here, we tried to follow with our national commander's time of welcome change. We reported on strength, which we just did. Our vice chairman is Kim Queen. And keeping with the commander's philosophy of change and having vice chairmen, Kim will be the next chairman in August. After doing this since 2017, the commander wanted to change our committees every 4 years, which is a good move. and Kim will be taking my place. During today's session, Kim Queen talked about the contest that we have in JWV to bring in membership. It's a change to our philosophy. It's a good idea, and posts will be rewarded and will also tie in with increasing our attendance at the banquet. So Kim, I want to say thank you very much for doing that. Kim also talked about very briefly about the Resource Center because he's a member of the marketing committee as well as JWV, and he did not want to take the thunder away from Howard Goldstein. So Kim, thank you for doing that. Our brand new Director of Membership, Benjamin Kane, joined us in October. We welcome Benjamin, and Benjamin talked about the Commander's Matrix. The Commander's Matrix, although Ben Kane is handling that under membership, is really a leadership assessment. Those reports have to be turned in. There are certain criteria that we can work with at our level, but one of those reports are an IRS requirement. And if you haven't submitted your IRS 990 form within a 3-year period, we run a great risk, and let me add a great risk, of losing our nonprofit status. And I would hate to be Ken Greenberg one morning waking up when somebody's going to come to him from his staff and say, I just got this from the IRS. And the full-time force had really nothing to do with it, but it's because the posts haven't turned in a 990 form. And I need you to do that. JWV needs you to do that, because if we lose our nonprofit status, we're in trouble. Okay, so please, please, I need your help with that. We also talked about during the conference here with the NEC about going into the next generation. I keep hearing that we can't get younger members. We shouldn't be focused on just younger members. We should be focused on all members. Okay, because no matter what the age is, if it's a Jewish veteran, we need to bring he or she into our ranks. But I do understand that we need to bring in younger members. And we're looking at that. We're looking at the various service academies, because if we can recruit an individual coming out of a service academy or ROTC, then we're adding leadership to that recruitment. And that's what we need. We need to bring in individuals from the academies as well as the leadership. We've listened, we've shared ideas, we've learned from each other. Now we need to have action. Commander, this concludes my report from the membership committee.
Barry?
Yes, Carl. Yes, past National Commander Singer.
I go by Carl. First of all, good report. I went through the New Jersey numbers just to get a feel, because I don't have the national numbers. I used to do a lot of data analysis. 30% of our membership in New Jersey is over 90 years of age. A bunch of them are actually over 100 and some years of age, if they're still alive, because we lose track. 18% of our New Jersey members do not live in New Jersey. And that excludes those members who don't live anywhere near their post, because they moved to South Jersey or retirement communities. We really have a data problem, in addition to everything else, of knowing who really is a member, where they are, so forth and so on. We've relied from time to time on our post commanders to let us know if somebody moves or if somebody passes away. But short of going through obituaries, we just don't have good data. I mean, I'm looking at the data that I have, which was from March of 21. That's the last one that I had that had birth dates on it. Again, 30% of those folks who listed birth dates were over 90 years old, and 18% of our membership in New Jersey, and it'll vary by state, obviously, 18% of our membership doesn't even live in New Jersey. So we've got some challenges just in terms of understanding how we are composed and also challenges of communicating and getting a hold of members who no longer live within the post that they're assigned to. I don't
Carl,
have an answer.
thank you. I was having problems hearing on what you were saying because it seems a little fuzzy, and wearing a hearing aid, I'm having a tough time. But that's happening with a lot of our posts. A lot of our posts are getting senior, even myself. I'm older today than I was yesterday, and that's happening everywhere. And we need to bring in younger members. You're absolutely correct. As far as the data, you know, National can only work with the information that's being fed to them. And that's true for every post. If your alpha roster needs updating, you need to take a look at it because National can't create the data. You know, it's coming from the post, it's coming from the it's coming from the departments. The director of membership, Ben Kane, will work with you. And I will be glad to sit in and participate if you want to scrub your alpha roster. But once again, if you want to scrub the alpha roster, you have to provide the data. And past National Commander Singer, I hope I answered your question because, as I said, I'm having a tough time hearing it.
Yeah, but I think though that our relying on post commanders to stay current when a lot of their members don't live in their catch area and don't come to meetings is difficult. I know, again, looking at New Jersey, I have 12 members who were born before 1919, meaning they're over 100 years old. And I don't want to be morbid, but if I look at obituaries, I'm going to find several of them are no longer with us. But they're still on the books because they were life members and they're no longer near their post and so forth. We have a real data scrub problem. On the other hand, we don't want to show that we're shrinking even more than we are. But there's just a lot of folks on our books who are not with their post and may not be with us at all.
Yeah, I understand that. One of the things that we're looking at, and I would like to wrap it up at this point, in the Constitution and bylaws, it calls for the junior vice commander at a department to be responsible for membership. The membership committee, currently the way it exists, is we have the department send in names. And I tried calling some of these names. And some of these names said, "Where did you get my phone number?" And some of the individuals said, "I don't want anything to do with membership. You know, I'm happy doing what I'm doing." So based on the consideration of the Constitution and bylaws that we currently have for August 2019, and we looked at it for the update in our next Constitution, we're going to stay with the same consistency of the junior vice being commander, and the junior vice commanders of the departments will be the makeup of the membership committee. Sir? Well,
But we need to train the junior vice commanders at every level that membership is their duty.
thank you. I'm sorry, Mike Corbett.
Thank you. Past National Commander Singer points out a very disadvantage to the membership objective. I recently moved into a CCRC. If you don't know what that is, I'm not going to explain it. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello? Okay. I have identified 6 veterans that live there that are Jewish. The population is approximately 300 people with about 1/3 Jewish. So I've identified these 6. They all come from different areas. As past National Commander Singer states, if they're moving to retirement communities such as that, they're already members, but they're downsizing their membership activities. Our objective in starting new posts is 10 new members who've never been a member before. How about
adjusting the bylaws to allow these folks in these communities to start their own post, even though they've been a member somewhere else before. That's my point.
I think it's, okay, I think it's a great idea because currently we have in Massachusetts the same situation. And if we can get 10 individuals who are Jewish members in one facility, there's a connection there and there's a bond there and they can help each other. And more so at that age, I agree with you. I agree. We'll take a look at that, and I think that's excellent. Okay, at this point, if there are no other questions, I'd like to turn it over back to the chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have one other report, and that's from our National Executive Director on Policy, and that's Ken Greenberg. Ken, you have the floor. You unmute, Ken. That's not you. There, okay. Ken, are you unmuted?
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it. I'm pleased to report the policy decisions from last night. One was related to the hat policy or headgear policy. And it just was pretty simple. There wasn't a lot of changes. The national commander will have 4 stars. The national vice will have 3 stars. The judge advocate will have 2 stars. The national chaplain will have 2 stars. The national chief of staff will have 2 stars. The national day of the officer will have 1 star. Past national commanders will continue to wear their PNC hat, and no hats, no new hats will be issued to past national commanders after 2000. And then a cap will be provided to the National Executive Director, and I have mine. That's the policy. Can I move to have any questions, or the policy committee voted to support that?
Okay, I recognize Michael Berman.
Thank you. I would ask that we consider on number 4, the national chaplain. We have listed about a half a dozen chaplains, one of whom is appointed by the national commander, and that should be designated as perhaps the senior or chief national chaplain. I would think chief chaplain would get that rather than every other. Also, I would ask that number 7, dealing with the past national commanders' caps, be stricken from the proposal. Many of us wear our past national commanders' hats very proudly, and there's no confusion because it says past on it. And someone looking at a commander's cap and doesn't see the dates thinks that that person is the national commander. Finally, I would ask that we put in a new number 7, and that is the national chief aide hat shall have embroidered 1 star showing the lettering National Chief Aide and inserting the dates of service. That's my suggestion, or my motion to amend.
Okay, we can. Do we have a second on this? Okay, we have a second. Discussion on the motion? You have a discussion?
I'll second that motion.
No, it's been seconded.
It's great to recognize people that are working their butts off, getting off their tuchus, even though they've been national commanders and past department commanders. And you've got, we're not working down to the bottom where we can get younger people in so they can take over some of the things that we do. Anyhow,
Okay.
I
Could you,
highly recommend it.
Michael, could you reread that so we can get down in writing?
Yes. number 4 on the proposed headgear, that the chief national chaplain. Secondly, strike number 7 completely as written and add as new number 7, the national chief aide hat shall be embroidered with 1 star and the lettering, the chief aide. Because we already have the chiefs of staff, so this would be the chief aide. Aide de camp, thank you. 1 star with the lettering. And the dates.
Okay, up, discussion, you need, wait for the mic. Yeah, this is discussion on amendment only.
On behalf of the past aide de camps, this organization, I thank you very much for recognizing us. Thank you.
Okay. Get the mic to Nelson Mellis, please.
If the past National Commander Berman would be very kind, could you also add in addition, the National Quartermaster should receive 1 star? Yeah, but the National Quartermaster is pretty high.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, we accept that 1 star. National Quartermaster.
And the date. Thank you.
Wait, hold on.
I'd like to have 1 big star.
Like the Texaco man. Okay, so now we're going to take a vote on the amendment. Okay, all in favor of the amendment? Opposed? Okay, now we're going to take a vote on the original proposal. With, as amended. As amended. All in favor? Opposed? So moved. Done. New business, any other new business? Ken is not done. Okay, sorry, Ken. Unmute, please. You still muted? Still can't hear you. Can you unmute? No. Yeah, hold on. All right, Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Commander, Mr. Chairman. The current,
Wait a minute. I'm unmuted now, sorry. This is related to reimbursement policy. And this is to change so that there are 5 persons that receive credit cards. They are the NED, the Director of Operations, the National Commander, the Coordinating Committee Chairman, and the National Vice Commander. Cards for both the National Commander and National Vice Commander will only be used during their term of office. Receipts must be required for all reimbursements. Those are the changes, and those are the specific people getting credit cards. Questions, comments?
question on the policy then. Does the chairman of the convention committee get a credit card? He currently does. There are any number of expenses he or she incurs doing the functions of JWV pending the convention. Is he supposed to eat those eat those, or he's supposed to lay it out and then wait until reimbursement? In the meantime, the credit card bill comes in. What are we doing with that? There's a motion to that effect that the chairman of the convention committee have a credit card, as I think is the current standing.
So that's amendment to this.
It's an amendment.
Okay. All right, so now I have to vote on the amendment. Any, do we have a second? Okay, do we have any comment on this, on the second? Yes, Commander, absolutely. Say no, you'd fire me.
We're, the reason for taking the convention chairman off the access to the credit card is because the policy that we're having today is you spend money, if it's authorized by JWV, the credit card, and JWV pays the bill. We felt that the convention chair, if the convention chair has to travel, the convention chair can ask for an advance from JWV. We'll give him or her a cash advance, or like any other business, they can use their own credit card, come back, turn in a receipt, and get the reimbursement. As I said yesterday, one of the issues we have with the auditors is we have a lot of cards out there, and we have a problem documenting the use of those cards with receipts. So that we felt in talking about this policy that taking the card away from the convention chair would be a wise decision.
In all of the other veteran service organizations I have worked with, there have never been this many cards issued. Most of the organizations have 3 cards, and the reimbursement is the way to deal with it.
Okay, so we still have to vote on this amendment. You wish to continue with that, Michael?
Well, I would like to just respond in part. The convention chairman is a volunteer. You're asking that particular convention chair, that person, to lay out money. Now, in the past, they use the card, they then submit the receipt to prove the expense. I don't understand why you're now making the convention chair lay out money first. Even if they get the advance, they're still going to have to submit receipts. If they don't have a credit card, no matter what. But at least they're not laying it out of their pocket and then waiting for whomever to approve their expense. And if in the meantime their credit card bill comes in, they're laying it out of their pocket and then waiting for JWV to pay it.
Greg and I will work to make sure that the payment is made for the reimbursement.
Well, we have an amendment. It's regardless, we go vote on it. Yep.
Thank you. Kim Queen. You know, this did come up as part of our discussion. One of the questions raises, how often does the chair of the convention committee actually have expenses? And what are they? Where, again, as Kenneth said, most VSO organizations, the cards are issued to people that have daily or weekly expenses that go along with the operation of the organization. Having been a convention chair in another organization, I didn't have a credit card, and my expenses were far and few between, except as we got towards the convention, I may have to visit a hotel or something. And that was reimbursed in a standard reimbursement time because there are regulations that require reimbursement in a timely manner. So again, when it was discussed, we have to look at reducing the number of cards. And it was felt that because this wasn't something that was germane to day-to-day operations or weekly operations of the organization, the card was probably redundant.
Okay, Ed Goldwasser, I recognize. He wants to speak on this. Ed? Yeah, unmute.
I I yield at this time. I was trying to get on before and I wasn't able to, but I yield at this time. It's extremely difficult.
Okay. All right, so, how about, is Larry needs to get on, or? Larry Rosenthal?
That he wants to talk on this.
Well, he hasn't said that. Okay, so we're going to, move this vote. We had on the amendment. So all in favor of the amendment to allow the chairman of the convention to have a credit card? Chairman of the convention committee to have a credit card. All in favor? Got to count? Hand up. She's got 5 on it.
And then my five.
She said. 5 and 6 is all. 16.
15, we'll make it 15. Okay, 15.
15.
15. Okay, all against this amendment?
Twice. Say a word, Karen.
I'm not.
Four,
On your side.
4, 17.
Okay, it's defeated.
Okay. So
1 before
it was defeated.
16, 15.
Okay. Yep.
15 the other.
Okay, so now we need to vote on the original proposal. Everyone understand it? Do we need to, as presented, right? Should be all set. Okay, all in favor?
5 cards.
It's unanimous. Not unanimous, but it's heavily, yeah, not unanimous, but it's heavily weighted. It passed, yeah, yeah, so passed. Okay. So we, well, new business, Michael?
Under new business, our policy concerning on Part 3 policies and duties, et cetera. On number 6, it says, and I'll read it in total because it's not that long. On occasion when events at a non-Jewish cemetery, church, or other religious building, parenthesis, but never on Sabbath or holy days, end of parenthesis. The wearing of a cap is dependent on the customary use thereof by other non-Jewish veterans. If they wear their caps, so do we. If they remove their caps, so do we. In the event of a secular building or outdoors, we may continue to wear our caps even during an invocation or benediction. I would request the following. On occasion when attending events at a non-Jewish cemetery, church, or other religious building, but never on Sabbath or holy days, the wearing of the cap is dependent on the customary use thereof by the member. That is my proposed change to the policy.
Everybody understand that? We have a second? We have a second. Discussion on the motion? Jerry?
speak in favor of the motion. I just want to tell you what I had to go through, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 years ago because of that. I had to contact Warren Donnelly, who was the National Protocol Officer. I was playing taps
I got you.
for a patron of my post at a memorial service, non-Jewish. And he said, I have to take my cap off during the service, but when you play taps, you put your cap on. It was kind of a crazy thing that was put in about 15, 18 years ago. And I happen to like Mike's change, proposed change.
Does anyone wish to talk in opposition to this motion? A question.
One of the things, and I'm not opposed to this at all particularly, a lot of synagogues, just using that as an example, if you come in and you're Jewish, you're not Jewish, you're Reform, you're conservative, if you want to stay, you're going to put on a kippah. Now, I don't know if other religions have the same kind of things as that, but that would be my only question about the change to the policy. I mean, basically, I have no question with it, but we have to make sure we don't insult anybody.
Sid Goldberg, Department of New York. I have a caveat to that. If you're invited as a member of the Jewish war veterans to a ceremony or something like that, they have to know you're Jewish.
Of course.
And you should be wearing your cap at that time, at all times, to show that you are Jewish, to distinguish you.
Thank you, Sid. Ed Goldwasser, are you opposed? Yep.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Ed Goldwasser, past national commander. My problem is, based upon what I just heard, if my post is invited to a 4-chaplain service, and there are 6 members of the post, and 3 don't wear caps even when they go to synagogue, and 3 do, I mean, you look like, I don't want to say it, but to the other people sitting there, you got 3 wearing their caps and 3 not wearing their caps. Either you have a set rule, or that's it, not what you practice.
We got one more. Okay.
Carl is raising it.
Okay, thank you, Ed. One more, and then we'll call for a vote. Or call for,
I would agree with,
okay. Carl Singer?
I would agree with past National Commander Goldwasser. You can't legislate sensibility. People, we can have all sorts of rules. Someone's going to walk into a room, look at, size up the situation and do what they think is best. They're not going to consult a book or their whatever. They're going to do what they think is best. If everybody else from their organization is wearing a hat, they should wear a hat, etc. And I don't think we can legislate or write down all the ifs, ands, buts, and whens of this kind of situation. We expect people to be menschlich and to be sensible.
So do we wish to table this? Nope. No. Yeah, I thought he was going to do. Okay. All right, we want to move to Ainsley. Okay, Ainsley moved to table, so it is tabled. Okay, you're right. Okay. All in favor of tabling this? Okay. So all in favor, opposed? Yeah. All opposed? Okay, so tabling is opposed. So now we have to vote on it. Okay, all in favor of the motion from Commander Berman?
The only thing we're changing is that we're leaving it up to the person's own preference, so that it will now read, on occasion when attending events at a non-Jewish cemetery, church, or other religious building, quote, not parenthesis, but never on Sabbath or holy days, end of parenthesis, comma, the wearing of the cap is dependent on the customary use thereof by the member.
Okay. So again, we'll take a vote on it. As we stated, we have to vote on it. All in favor? Okay. Opposed? It's obvious it was her. It's so passed. Is there any other any new business? No business. Okay, we'll have the closing benediction. Okay, do we have anything on the good and welfare?
That's it. Okay, I'm Nelson Melitz. You know me as the National Vice.
Come up here. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Barry Washinsky, could you stand up? Okay, I'm Nelson Melitz, National Vice Commander. Barry Washinsky standing back there, Membership Director for many years, or you're in charge of membership. We've handed out to you our bios. We are now declaring our candidacy, mine for National Commander, Barry for National Vice Commander. We are the first two colonels to run for these positions. Yeah, forget it. Okay. Okay, that's over 60 years experience in the military. In addition to that, we have maybe 40 years experience in Jewish war veterans in leadership positions from post commander all the way up. We're here to help you. We're here to work with you and improve JWV. You'll receive in the mail very shortly, either email or hard copy, our official nominations, endorsements, and we're hoping that you will support us. But we are here for you. Barry, do you want to say something, or should I just shut up and walk away? Okay. No. Okay.
Came up here to get my phone because I was having a withdrawal and I left it up here from the membership committee. But as Nelson had mentioned, I'm very, very honored to have you decide that I would be the next vice commander. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Let me just point out though.
If anybody else ever wants to run for office, then they will have the opportunity in good and welfare to do what just occurred. It's equal opportunity for anyone.
Mr. Chair,
And you don't have to be a colonel, even though they're deserving.
Mr. Chair, I want to suggest that next year is the 50th anniversary of the Yom Kippur War, when the Jewish war veterans actually went on a trip and entered Israel during the time the war was in progress. I think we ought to do something to memorize it. So I just call it on attention to be considered doing something on the 50th anniversary.
I recognize Al Adler.
Yeah,
Unmute yourself.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. Many of you know that last year I was diagnosed with stomach cancer, and I had quite an extensive operation. I just completed my 6 months of chemotherapy, and I want to thank all of the members of JWV who have given me the prayers and thoughts and good wishes. And please be advised that each day I'm getting stronger. Looking forward to seeing you all in Savannah. Thank you again. God bless you all. You are the greatest.
All right, we should conclude the meeting. We get a closing benediction from our rabbi sitting next to me, David Megason. Rabbi, please rise.
Well, let me just say this. My grandfather was a cantor in Manhattan Beach in Brooklyn, New York, and we didn't like rabbis. My grandfather always told me, don't trust rabbis. Oh, no, I'm not singing it. But a Magid, dear God, thank you very much for allowing us to have this meeting where we hopefully have done beneficial things for the Jewish war veterans of the United States of America, for all Jews, for all in the military, for all veterans. Let us say amen.
I thank you all. Please sit. Oh, no, stay down. I'm sorry. But I thank everybody for their patience. We had a lot to take care of in this one meeting, and I will now call for the officer of the day. Yeah, before you do that, salute the colors and salute. 2. Please close the altar. Thank you. Thank you for you doing that. And thank everyone for your support and look forward to seeing you in August. In good health.